Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Skip E. Lowe Looks at Hollywood. Tonight's guests are that exciting singing star, Miss Roslyn Kind, and also two of Hollywood's hottest stars designers, Randy McLaughlin and Jerry Skeels. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Hollywood's one-of-a-kind, Skip E. Lowe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Looking at Hollywood. Today we have a special show for you. We have one of Paris's newest singing rages. She is wonderful. She's an American. Thank God for that. She's one of the talk about young stars in France right now, Miss Roslyn Kind. Hello, Roslyn.
Hi, Skip. How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
When did it all happen? Singing rage of Paris.
Just
Fine.
recently, you know, you get discovered, you
Just
wait
like...
years, and suddenly there it is, and you're an overnight success.
Right. You're recording there? Doing everything?
A lot of the recording I've been doing here, and it's going over there.
Oh, you do it here?
Yeah, so far. I probably will be recording there when I go over again.
And you've been working with Charles Aznavour and all these people?
Yeah, I've done that, and I'm working in conjunction with Jackie Lombard Productions. And it's
What's
quite
that
exciting.
all about, Jackie Lombard?
Well, she's actually the actual producer of the records, and she's also a promoter for concerts, and she sets all that up.
Does she?
Yes, she does.
And you pick out your own songs, Roslyn?
No, it's kind of a community thing that we do. We all look and we all pick.
You pick, yes. Yeah, no, the last time I saw you was at the Black Lot in Studio One here in Los Angeles.
Nightclub.
Nightclub, right,
Exactly.
which is one of the talk-about clubs in town.
Definitely, it's the only place I work when I'm here. Well, I've worked a couple of other places, but that's my main spot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you an actress, Roslyn?
I've been acting for the last few years. I did a play, I did some television, a film. And,
you did a film?
Yeah,
it
never came out. It was an independent. I hope it doesn't come out. It was a great experience, but I don't know if I want the public to see it.
Is that your thing, acting? You would like
I love acting. I love singing also, but I'm so used to singing that I've been doing it, you know, most of the time that I've been in show business, but acting is relatively new for me.
I want to ask you a question. You were on the Ed Sullivan Show. You were very young. How old were you? You must have been really young.
18.
18?
We won't say what year that was.
On Ed Sullivan. God.
On Ed Sullivan.
Yeah, one of the Toast of New York. It was a great show, wasn't
it?
Yeah. And you've been on Tonight Show many times, haven't you?
Tonight Show, Murphy. I've done pretty many of the shows around here, yeah.
But how do you like France?
I love it.
Do you really?
Yeah, I love Europe.
You speak French?
Not fluently. I mean, you know, I've studied high school French, which gets me by when I'm there, but I'm looking forward to spending you know, a period of time there where I can really cultivate and learn to speak fluently instead of just conjugating verbs.
When the French discover an American artist, they really go out all the way. Because I was in Paris years ago when Trini Lopez worked at the Olympic... Trini. Is it Trini?
Devil is right.
Yeah, that's right. Trini Lopez, he worked the Olympic Theater with the Beatles, matter of fact. The Beatles
oh gosh,
closed,
that was the 60s.
Yeah, right, 60. I was out there, and he closed the first half, and the Beatles closed the second half. And you know something? The Beatles, French didn't care for them, really. They loved Trini Lopez, the American, America, that song they did, remember?
Right.
That was his big hit. And he worked the E Little Club in Beverly Hills. That's where it started. Did you ever work at that club?
No. Actually, that was on its way out when I first moved to L.A.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember it, though, because Joan Rivers was still working it.
Yeah.
But it was really on its way out. I think she was the only one that brought any business in at that time.
The comedians, yeah, for comedians. They did have singers out there, though. It was beautiful. You're going to sing for us today.
Definitely. My new single that will be out in France in the second week of April.
It's out in France now? It's going to be out in
Second week of April.
It's going to be out here, too? Or
France first.
France first.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd love to hear
It's the
you.
new market here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Love your dress. I don't
Thank you. Oh, did I have to
tell
tell you about this dress?
Yes.
It was designed by two of my dear friends, Jerry Skeels and Randy McLaughlin. And they're from Duran Design.
Duran here in Hollywood, West Hollywood.
Los Angeles, right, in Los Angeles. And they do a lot of designing for the stars. And, oh, God, wait till you see this incredible wedding
You
gown.
brought them today.
Yes, they're here. They're going to show some of their fashions. And they're just marvelous.
Okay.
Wait till you see this wedding gown. Wait till you see I mean, it's like, the wedding gown isn't here, the drawing is.
Is it? Okay.
But you will get to see it on television. It's incredible.
I'd love to hear you
Until
sing.
then, here I go.
I'd love to hear you sing. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, Miss Roslyn Kind. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Roslyn Kind.
falling down like rain. My heart is crying out in pain. My nights are filled with memories of how it used to be. Time probably will heal. Now I must conceal this agony I feel. In time I probably will find some joy, some peace of mind that will destroy the sadness that I feel. Sad. I don't want to feel so sad. Alone in loneliness. Nothing but emptiness. I don't want to be so sad. Sad is the only thing I feel. Nothing else is real when I'm sad. I don't want to feel so I feel my life is out of rhyme. I feel I'm standing still in time. It seems like only yesterday you said you'd stay. Time probably will heal. Now I must conceal this agony I feel. In time I probably will find some joy, some peace of mind that will destroy the sadness that I feel. Sad. I don't want to feel so sad. Alone in loneliness. Nothing but emptiness. I don't want to be so sad. Sad is the only thing I feel. Nothing else is real when I'm sad. I don't want to feel so
Beautiful. Beautiful, Roslyn. Beautiful. Thank you. Come over here, darling. Wonderful. You got into that mood, didn't you? Ah, that hey.
Easy mood lately.
That's gonna be a hit in Paris. You know why? They
Why?
love pathos there. They love that Edith Piaf-ish.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's
Mireille
gonna be,
Mathieu.
yeah, well, that's going to be a hit. That is
I
really
hope so.
beautiful.
Thank you, Skip.
Who
Glad
did
you
that?
liked it.
Who did the song?
It was actually written by an Israeli.
Really?
Yes, and a number of people had it, and I think tried doing it, and they never found the right treatment for it. And we discovered it, and we
Great.
said we feel it has a good chance
You
of being
have
a hit
it.
there.
Believe me, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
great. And that'll be out in when, you say?
Second week of April.
Second week. And when will it be out here?
I don't
you're
know.
not gonna-
We'll see how good they all are here, you know.
Yeah, right. The French will love this.
We'll see if the United States deserves it.
Yeah, exactly, right. But tell me something. You're from New York City originally, aren't you?
Definitely.
Brooklyn.
Oh, the
Brooklyn.
third guess. You got it
Brooklyn,
right.
Third guess, okay.
The accent didn't give me away.
Yeah.
See, it's that California accent
How long
kind
have
of
you been in
mixed
California?
in. It'll be 11 years in June.
11.
Isn't that hard to believe? I can't
A
quite
New York
believe it.
girl from Brooklyn. What do you?
Really?
What's the difference of California and New York? Do you really like it here?
I do. I have definitely become a Los Angeles person. I don't miss the harriedness of New York City at all. And when I do go back, I hate it. I despise having to wait for. I was there last
Roslyn,
summer
don't
and
sit
waiting for
there.
a cab to go to the theater. I walked. I had blisters on my feet.
It's good
I'm
to
not-
walk.
I know it's
You're
great. I walk here too. But when you're dressed up to go to the theater in high heels in the summer, when your feet swell, it's not so much fun. You know?
Did you do theater in New York? Did you ever do theater in New York?
No, I never did theater when I was in New York, but I have done theater here, and it was a marvelous experience. The show itself, called Ferguson the Tailor, was supposed to go to Broadway,
Right. It was
but
at
they
the
had some rewrite programs.
Beverly Hills Playhouse. wasn't
Yes,
it? Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. I heard about good reviews
Yeah,
on it. Too.
fabulous, yeah.
But tell me something. You are actually into, as an actress, you wanted to
I'm
do
very much into acting, yes.
You-
I love comedy. I love drama.
Want to get a sitcom, huh? Is that what you want?
Yeah, sitcom is what I really love. I
Really?
love television. I did a pilot for ABC,
Uh-huh.
and I mean, that whole week, you can tell just the adrenaline. I lost 2 clothing sizes in 5 days. I'll do it all the time. Please, more television.
Roslyn, you know something? I worked with your sister, Barbara Streisand.
Barbara.
Barbara.
There's no extra R,
It
just an
isn't-
A missing.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. I worked with her at the Bolswan, the Village, years ago when she was doing a show called
I Can Get It For You
Wholesale.
Wholesale.
Right. What year was that in? Do you remember? I can't remember that. It's
God,
a
I think
long
it was
time ago.
61.
61? Yeah, right, because I went to that. I entertained the troops there. She was wonderful. I emceed the show called it was at the Bolswan, the Village, and she was doubling, I remember. She was wonderful.
Running back in cabs.
Yeah.
Then you could get them.
Yeah, exactly. It was great. Yeah, that was a great year in the 60s when
Yeah,
she started. I loved it there.
definitely.
She worked with a friend of mine. She subbed, Mimi Hines took her place after she
Right, in
left.
Funny Girl.
Funny Girl. Matter of fact, Mimi just left. I just talked to her a few days ago. She just left doing Sugar in Atlantic City.
Really? How's she
Yeah.
doing?
She's doing
Last
fine.
time
She's
I saw
back.
her was also at the back lot. She was here doing her act.
Right, but she's back with her husband, Phil Ford.
Really?
And,
How long were they separated?
For about 8 years, 9 years.
You're kidding.
Yeah, she was doing her show on her own, and now
Were
she's
they
back.
only separated working or separated?
Working,
Oh,
working,
okay.
separated and separated and
Yeah.
separated. Yeah, they're back
Wait a
together.
minute,
again.
separated and separated.
I love that gown. That's a
Okay.
beautiful gown. And you said you brought some wonderful people for us.
Yes,
The
Jerry
Duran-
Steels and Randy McLaughlin from Duran.
Right.
And they're going to show us some more of their wonderful designs.
Well, let's bring them on. Let's get
Jerry, Randy,
Hello, Jerry.
come on.
Hi,
All
Jerry.
dressed up for the occasion.
You're Jerry.
I'm Jerry.
I'm Skip. Hi.
glad
And
to
you're
meet you.
Randy? Hi, Randy. How are you? Sit down. And you're the gentleman who are responsible for all this beautiful wardrobe in town here. You do Dynasty, I understand, huh?
No. I worked on Dynasty. Nolan Miller is the designer on Dynasty. I
Right.
worked for 3 seasons on the show.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I was responsible for fitting those lovely clothes on Joan and Lyndon.
Oh, I see. You're the man. Oh, I see. This is beautiful. Did you do this one? Is this?
Looks good on her, huh?
It looks
Not
great on
bad
her.
for us. I just stepped into it right
yeah,
now.
it looks great on you. Yeah.
She makes it easy.
Aww.
Yeah. And Jerry is your partner? I mean,
Randy.
Randy?
I'm the pretty one.
This is Jerry, this is
Just
Randy.
Randy. Yes,
Right.
thank
Jer
you.
Rand.
Right. Oh, that's right. Jer
As in
Rand.
gerbil, Rand.
Yeah, right.
Gerbil, new
And
name for
where's
Paris,
where's your
maybe.
studio located at?
On 3rd Street, a block and a half east of the Beverly Center.
Beverly Center, huh? And where are you from originally?
I'm from Indiana.
Indiana. How nice. And you? Where are you from?
I'm from a very small town called Port Huron, Michigan.
Ah, small town. Yes, I remember that town. It's so small. Howard Johnson's carry one flavor. I remember that. That's a nice town. You're both from the Midwest, then, huh?
Yes,
And how long you been in Hollywood? You two?
I've been out here about 6 years.
6 years, and you, Randy?
I've been here since 1956.
Oh,
I'm almost full-blooded California.
You've done film for films too. Things?
Yes,
You brought some models for us today.
Yes, I did. Would you like to see the first?
Love to.
Randy, why don't you talk about Anne-Marie?
Okay, this is Anne Marie coming,
Uh-huh.
and she's in a lime
She's
green.
lovely. Oh.
She's in a lime green silk linen suit, trimmed with an off-white rope trim.
Uh-huh.
And it's a two-piece, and it's lined with an off-white China silk.
It's beautiful. Beautiful color.
Thank you.
Yeah,
She's a very
lovely.
beautiful lady.
Yes, she is. She's lovely.
Jill, why don't you come out and show them your cocktail-length gown? Jill's wearing a gold lame imported fabric gown. It's veiled with a black chiffon covered with small paillettes. It's an uneven hem, petal hem. The neckline is asymmetrical, and it's capped at the shoulder with self-fabric handmade roses.
It's lovely. That's lovely. She carries it beautiful, too.
Our next model is Sheila Stevenson.
Uh-huh.
And she's also Joan Collins' spit model when she's having something made from us.
Oh.
She's wearing a silk linen suit, using a positive and negative appliques on her to give it a trompe l'oeil feeling, which is fool the eye.
The shoulders are big now, aren't they?
Yes, well, you find it's very flattering. It makes the waist very small. And those guys in the 40s knew what they were doing.
Yes, Joan Crawford look. Yeah, it's great.
Millions of women are going to work out nowadays to build the shoulders naturally.
Yeah, you have shoulders, too. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
What's a lady without a shoulder?
Yeah, exactly. right, Roslyn. It's lovely.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yeah, it's lovely. And you have, you have other things you've been doing. You did. You brought
Yes,
a wedding.
I should show you this.
What is this? The wedding.
This is a wedding gown that will be appearing on The Young and the Restless.
Young and really?
Yes, Melody Thomas will be wearing it. She plays the part of Nikki. It will be the biggest wedding ever done on daytime television. The gown is valued at $20,000.
Gorgeous.
And Randy, tell them the secret now about you and I.
Well, it was really amazing. Melody Thomas had heard about us from a lot of her soap opera friends. And she came in and she rented a dress. She needed a dress for the Family Feud. And she came in and we immediately hit it off, personality-wise.
Right.
And we joked and joked and joked, and we just become really close friends. So she went back, and I didn't hear from her for a couple weeks, and after she had rented the dress, and the next thing I know, we were approached by the wardrobe mistress on the show that she is going to be doing a big wedding, and they're considering us to do it. And they had approached 3 or 4 really top big designers throughout the United States, and she demanded she had us do the wedding. And I'm just really flattered that she had asked us.
Great. I see you have some more models coming out with some more things soon.
Yes. This one you're going to describe, right, Anne-Marie?
Right.
Anna-Marie's lovely.
Isn't she
Isn't she
pretty?
beautiful? She could wear anything.
Oh,
let me
that's
tell
lovely.
You. She's wearing a chiffon dress with bugle beads done in turquoise with 3 linings. It's turquoise, purple, and turquoise.
Beautiful.
It's very elegant and floats beautifully.
Yes.
Again, you'll notice the influence of the dolman sleeves also, I think, was popular in the 40s.
I understand she just got a series, huh?
Yes, she did.
Our lovely model.
Yes,
Yes.
High School USA.
High School USA.
The pilot, yes. She's got a reoccurring role.
Congratulations, darling.
Yes.
Yes, congratulations. She's beautiful. That's lovely. This one. What is this?
Our next model, Jill, she's wearing, this is a fantasy ball gown that we have done. It is silk, tiers of ruffles and roses out of black velvet. A little something to hide behind if you're shy.
That's very Joan Collins-ish, isn't
Yes, it
Isn't
is.
she?
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, I've done a similar number for Joan
Really?
that she wore on one of the awards.
Very Joan
Yes,
Collins. Gorgeous.
Oh, incidentally, we did forget to tell you, on The Young and the Restless, they have also hired us to play ourselves as designers on the show.
Oh, you're an
We'll be
actor.
appearing for a week on the show.
How wonderful. That's beautiful. It's a lovely colors.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Thank you, darling. You're very beautiful. You're going to appear on your
Yes, isn't that fantastic? The producer came over to talk to us about doing the gown initially. And then I suppose they got the idea, wouldn't it be fun to do the whole real thing?
Right.
So on the show, they supposedly fly us to Wisconsin. And Randy and I are on for a week, and we're supposed to do this wedding gown in 4 days. This is kind of fun. This is TV.
Right. Roslyn, tell me something. Your sisters, you have 2 other sisters, don't you? No, you
Where did you hear that?
Don't you have a sister that has
People
a
have
bakery?
been talking, I know.
Don't you have an older sister who has a bakery in town? Or is it? Really? I don't.
I'm not buying there any more than...
Who has butterflies? Butterflies?
No, I was once associated with the Butterfly Bakery.
It was you.
It was me.
Oh, okay.
She's got a split personality.
Hey, I thought you had an
I
older.
like to bake.
I thought you had an older sister. No?
No. There's only 2 sisters
Two
and a
sisters?
brother.
2 sisters and a brother. I
Right.
didn't know that. I thought there was 3.
Anybody else is imposter.
Oh, they really are. The
yeah,
Enquirer's
ask them
really.
if they're Jewish. I don't know. I just...
Yeah, the Enquirer really tells. I thought they said 2 sisters. Not 3. No. Ah.
They always
One of
double
each of us
everything.
and a brother.
So you had the
Unless
bakery.
my brother's been doing something we don't know about.
So you had the bakery in Westwood.
Yeah, I was once associated with that.
Butterfly.
Yes.
Who picked the name? You did, or?
No, it was through other people I was involved with earlier in my career, and our association has since broken up, and they're, I believe, doing still very well with the bakery, and I'm doing a lot better not being there because I can fit into wonderful dresses like this.
Rosalind, tell me something. Have you studied acting? Be
Yes,
honest.
I have.
You have?
Oh, definitely.
Yes. With whom have you studied? With?
Milton Katselis for one,
Uh-huh.
Alan Miller, and
Here in California?
uh-huh,
I
yes.
see. Not in New York, though?
No.
I see.
No, I studied briefly before I moved out here, but not of anybody's reputation.
I see. Don't you think the theater and television is completely different, though?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, projection.
I mean, you're, as a nightclub
much
performer,
different.
you are really a nightclub performer, Roslyn.
Yes.
I mean, you're a singer, and you're a nightclub
Yes.
performer. I mean, people are drinking, and you're entertaining out there. It's
Right.
completely different in front of a camera.
Oh,
and a,
totally.
Am I right?
Totally. There's much more control in front of the camera.
Yeah. What do you think
Whereas,
of the audience?
whereas an audience in a nightclub, it's much more spontaneous.
Right. What do you think of audiences here in California? As a New Yorker or a traveler? We're a traveler. What do you think?
I don't know. They vary all over, but I don't think you can really put a group.
I like that. They do vary all
They
over.
do. I
They
mean, from night
Yeah.
to night in the same city, they
Yeah,
vary.
yeah,
You know?
I agree.
You have no idea. It
'Cause-
could be a tourist in there. It could
Yeah.
be. I remember once when I played the Plaza Hotel in New York,
Yes.
the Persian Room.
Uh-huh.
And I was very young at the time, but I believe we got a lot of touristy people who would come and sit in the audience,
Manhattan.
and because of the Persian Room, the grandeur of the
Yeah.
Persian Room, they would think that, well, we have to watch how we applaud. I mean, this is a great.
Right.
And I would sit there doing this big number from Hair, and then they went. I mean, it's just, you know, I'm saying, can't you give me more than that? And it stumped me because I said, I don't understand here. I'm bringing them in. It's a big ending, you know, come join in, let the sun shine. And they're like this. And then somebody explained to me that we get a lot of tourists, and the whole reputation of the hotel in that room does not allow them.
Right.
And I was like one of the youngest performers to play there, so they were not used to my vitality. The whole aura was changed with that
Yes.
performance. And I had to get to understand that, because sometimes it can psych you out. You don't think
Right.
you're being enjoyed.
Right. Randy, don't you think Rosalind sitting here looking at her, don't you actually think she has her own personality, her own way of being?
Absolutely.
I mean, people would say Barbara Streisand's
Most
sister.
definitely.
Am I right?
Yes.
She is Rosalind Kine. I really sitting here, really, this is the first time I've met her. And I've seen her perform many places. But she has her own personality. There is no comparison, as you can say, just as Barbara Streisand said. You're wonderful. You have your own talent of your own. And I see with the French are discovering her, because she really
It's
is
my
unique.
body.
No.
She
We beat them to that.
She has very much a sister image. I mean, she came in, and I had met Roz about 6 years ago, and I went back in her room, in her dressing room, to
I was
tell her-
dressed at the time.
tell her how beautiful she was, and very few celebrities will sign an autographed picture, you know, because when I first came to California, of course, I was starstruck coming from a very small town. And she was so real and so wonderful and not into herself like a lot of performers are. And I think wonderful.
Yeah.
And a very good friend of mine brought her into our shop just a few months ago, and I was so thrilled to have her into our shop, of course. And she just, to me, is so much like a sister image. I mean, it's like a big sister as opposed to a performer.
Wait a second. Big sister? Wait. I don't know how to take that.
Baby sister, or small sister, not big.
Once you have that Brooklyn accent, you never can lose it. Am I right, Rosalind?
It gets lighter, though. It does.
It does?
You know when it comes out the heaviest on me? When I'm anxious. Then it comes to full flower. But when I'm thinking very deeply and try to explain things, a lot of it gets lost.
Where did you grow up in Brooklyn? In Flatbush?
Flatbush.
Flatbush, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work Brooklyn a lot.
Where?
I worked at Club 82. I mean, no, the Club 82.
Was that like
with
at
Jerry
the
Vale
beach or something? Was that near Brighton Beach or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, with Jerry Vale and weekends. You know, I did weekends, and Italian singers. A lot of Italian singers there. You know, downstairs in the cellar, some cellar place. It was fun.
That
I
was
used
a
to
big
work.
thing, Italian singers and cellars.
Yeah, right. It was a lot of fun. You brought a model, another one for us. This, I
Yes.
see this beautiful sketch.
This gown was
is
designed
gorgeous
for Joan
sketch.
Collins and worn on the Christmas issue of Playboy magazine.
There she is. She's beautiful. My Lord.
The gown is solid bugle beads. There were over 400 hours of man labor to be the
gorgeous.
gown. I should say lady labor.
Darling, I must tell you, you'll never drown. She's lovely.
The dress is cut to the waist and cut up to the high thigh. It's accented with beaded poinsettias. When they first told us, Playboy, that they wanted us to
This is for
design
Playboy.
Playboy magazine
Magazine.
cover, which incidentally sold, I understand, somewhere around 10 million copies.
14 million.
Really?
The most ever for the magazine. Everybody wanted to see what Joan was really like. And the dress was designed for her, as I said.
Yes.
When they said Christmas, I said, oh, what are we going to do? Poinsettias? And we had a glass of wine, and we had to have a sketch for the next day. You know, it's quick.
Yes.
And it suddenly sounded like a good idea, and it did become one eventually. We're quite proud of this. This helped us get launched.
Launched here, yeah. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. She's a lovely girl. Is
Sheila's
she an actress also?
She is getting ready to be.
She's lovely.
She has been.
What's her name?
Sheila Stevenson.
Sheila Stevenson. She's lovely. Red hair too. Beautiful. Well, thank you very, very much, Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you. Randy, so what's in the future for you now?
I'm Jerry. I'm the
Jerry,
pretty one.
okay. Say,
Give him a break, right?
Say names with me.
He's prettier, I'm younger.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
only by a year.
What's in the future for you two gentlemen?
Lots of pretty ladies wearing lots of pretty clothes, I hope. We really do enjoy and bringing beauty back. I think it was gone for a while.
Who are the people that you really design for right now, basically?
Oh, we're designing, well, we're getting ready to do a movie for Patricia Carr. She's an actress, Tom Bosley's wife.
Yes.
I can't say the name of the movie. Isn't that awful
Yes,
to do
that's
that?
right.
At any rate, and The Young and the Restless
Right.
sing, and we did Revlon commercials for Joan
Great.
Collins.
Beautiful.
So this has helped us a great deal. People are suddenly calling and flocking in to see us.
And how about you, Roslyn? What's in the future for our lovely American star here?
My goodness.
Going to
hopefully-
Paris?
Yes, going to Paris, hopefully at the
You're
end of
leaving?
April, and I don't know how long my stay will be.
Do me a
but
favor. Give my regards to France, because I adore Paris.
I will
was in there.
stand right in the middle of the Champs-Elysees just for you, Skip.
No, darling, I think the
and
French
I will
are...
pronounce it.
They say they're rude. A lot of Americans claim French are rude. They really aren't. You have to learn to speak their language. If you learn to speak their language,
Or
they'll
at least
accept
honestly try
you. Right,
without
thank
making
you.
fun
That's
of it.
what it is. Am I right?
Yeah.
Rosalind, thank you for coming.
Thank you for
You're
having me.
a wonderful talent.
Thank
you. Thank you.
It's nice
Jerry.
meeting you,
Nice
Skippy.
meeting you, Jerry. And thank you, Randy.
Thank
You're
you
very
for
nice.
having us on.
Thank
They're
you.
all right.
Very I want to thank my guests, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Roslyn Kine, Jerry Skeels, and Randy McLaughlin. Thank you very much. You have been looking at Hollywood. Thank you. Wonderful. They're rolling credits. Thank you very much.
Visiting us today is the noted movie and TV producer Jay Bernstein. Mr. Bernstein is currently represented on the air by the new Mike Hammer series. A new season is at hand, and we're pleased to offer our first bud of spring to the person of the very talented singer, Julie Budd. And now, here's your man of the half hour, Skippy Lowe.
Oklahoma City. But a name like Bernstein in Oklahoma City. Come on, tell me.
The stagecoach broke down between Miami Beach and Beverly Hills. Actually, that's a line made up by Nick Adams. Remember Nick from The Rebel?
Of course, I love Nick.
Johnny Yuma was the Rebel? Yeah, Nick, that was Nick's line. When people would say to me, he'd answer for me.
Jay Bernstein, producer, busy, even an actor. You do some acting too in some
I
things.
did. I was in one of my own movies. I figured no one else was going to hire me.
Right.
So I've hired me to write episodes in my series of Houston Nights or Mike Hammer or Bring 'Em Back Alive. I've also directed the last episode of Mike Hammer that was on the series. I've acted in, directed, written, I'm in 7 guilds. Warren Beatty and I are the only 2 people that are in 7 guilds, but no one's ever hired me but me. But I figured I should take advantage of the leverage.
Right.
In fact, the show that I directed on Mike Hammer was sent in for an Emmy consideration.
Right.
But it was sent in by the executive producer, which was me. So it's like, hey, at least I was considered for an Emmy.
Tell me something. You went to Pomona College?
Pomona College in Claremont, California. The difference
Claremont
between
schools, yes.
Claremont
schools.
is great. It's got
Yes.
Scripps. It's got
Uh-huh.
Claremont Men's School. They got like 5 colleges there. But the name Pomona is unfortunate because I'm sure it's a very nice town for the
Right.
people who live there. But it's nothing like this little town. When I was there, it was 65% of the people were over 65 years old and drove around in electric cars. It was really, it's like a little New England town.
Jay Bernstein, your father, he really didn't want you to come to Hollywood. He wanted you to go back east to college or to become what? He really didn't want you to be in the business.
No,
did he?
that's not true.
Is it?
My father was like Will Rogers. My mother is like Nancy Reagan. It's a very interesting combination. My mother wanted me to go to Harvard or Princeton or Yale or Dartmouth and to be a doctor or a lawyer. My dad just wanted me to be happy. I lost my dad 11 months ago. In fact, I have his 32nd degree Mason ring is all I have from the estate because that's all I wanted. But he was just one of those people who, in fact, I dedicated the last movie to him because it would never have gotten done. We were so far apart on the license fee on a movie called The Diamond Trap. I did with Brooke Shields, Twiggy, Howard Hessman, Ed Marinero. We were $500,000 apart. My dad died, and my friends at CBS and at Columbia got together and just said they'll make the movie while I had to go away for the funeral.
I see.
So I dedicated the movie to my father.
Well, that's very nice, really. Tell me something about Jay Bernstein and that southern accent of yours. I just love that. It's a southern accent, isn't
Well, it's
it?
Oklahoma. I mean,
Is it
Oklahoma's
Oklahoma?
like Texas, and it
It's
only comes out
it's a
when I...
charming accent.
Well, it depends who I run into. I mean, I can...
Do you get thicker?
Yeah, when I'm talking to people, like, most people do not think I have an accent. But I must have been speaking to someone... Oh, my best friend came out. That's what it was. For 3 days. I've known him since I was 5. And so now I've picked up... I have one of those ears, like, because I'm an actor.
Yes.
Like you're an actor.
Right.
And we're all actors.
You
We
worked
wouldn't be
here in
doing
Hollywood as a you did cars. You worked in William Morris office, PR.
When I first came out from Oklahoma, I had $1,000 my dad gave me.
Right.
I lost $600 of it in Vegas on the way here. So I had $400. I ended up in an apartment on National Boulevard in the Hispanic district. I finally got a job the day before I had to be a teller at the Union Bank. I got a job because Hollywood didn't know I was coming for some reason. They didn't get any of my letters. So I got a job at William Morris in the mailroom for $40 a week. But that was from 9:45 to 6:45 at night, and then I worked in beautiful downtown Burbank on an assembly line making ball bearings from 8 at night to 2 in the morning, and I parked cars at Lowry's on La Cienega on the so because I wanted to be in show business.
But you got into a big office called William Morris, and then Rogers and Cowan. But what happened to Rogers and Cowan, Jay? I mean, you decided, hey, I've had enough of this. I want to open my own office. Is that what happened?
I left Rogers and Cowan because of Jane Mansfield. Jane Mansfield, who I liked very much, didn't understand that I was going with a girl by the name of Leslie Parrish, who you've seen in The Manchurian Candidate. She's now married to Richard Bach, who did Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and I was living with Leslie. But Jane Mansfield thought I should be living with her, and we were having a little bit of a sexual problem with all of this, and so I asked Warren Cowan if he would take me off the Jane Mansfield account, because I loved working there. I was handling Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford. I had the Rat Pack, I had Eddie Fisher, I had all those people, but they wouldn't let me off the Jane Mansfield account because she was going to fire them. I did, so I went and I started an office in my girlfriend's spare bedroom, and then when we broke up, I got a single apartment. I kept the files in the stove and in the refrigerator, kept out the plugs so that it wouldn't burn up or freeze the files, and I had a guy working for me who could write, and he typed on an ironing board, on a typewriter on an ironing board, because I couldn't afford a table. And and by the way, speaking of writing, I'm getting ready to do a book next. It's called Fired by 600 Stars and Still Smiling.
Fired by 600 Stars.
I'm doing it with Mickey Herskowitz, who wrote the Dan Rather book, the Betty Davis book, the Gene Tierney book, the Gene Autry book, the Michael Deaver book, the Leon Jaworski, the Watergate prosecutors book, and he's doing a book now he's finishing with John Connolly from Texas.
But Jay Bernstein, you're responsible for a lot of these people like Farrah Fawcett, Summers. I mean, I can go down the line. You made a lot of stars. You groomed a lot of stars. Grooming, I think, is your idea. Because you don't look for talent, you look for class. And then the talent comes later. Is that correct? What do you think about that, Joe?
I look for a quality.
Quality, I mean, yes.
What I can do is, if I can fall in love with somebody in 30 minutes,
Right.
I can just tell by talking to them, then if it's that kind of love, I believe I can make America
That's right.
fall in love with that same person. That's how I felt about Farrah Fawcett, Suzanne Summers, Christy McNichol, Linda Evans, Donna Mills,
You know where'd you get that
Bruce
quality from?
Boxleitner.
Bruce, oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Clark Gable. That's
He is.
another Clark Gable.
He was with me last night, and he's playing a Gable part. He is playing the romantic lead, who was just signed this morning in the new Judith Krantz miniseries, 5 hours, called Till We Meet Again. And he plays this very Gable, swashbuckling kind of lover part. That's, I mean, he's just been, it's 8 years for us. And in fact, I'm the godfather to both of his children.
I think
and Stacy Keach just made me the godfather to his son. So it's like, you know, there is a payoff in all this somewhere.
So there is no Jay Bernstein. You don't have regrets then about what happened with all those people that fired you and all those.
No, because I understand it. I understand that when you get them where you want them to be, where they want to be, where the air is rarefied,
Right.
and they become deified, then I get nullified. It's rarefied, deified, and nullified.
How did you meet Farrah Fawcett?
I introduced Sonny Bono to somebody who became the next Cher for People magazine to put on the cover.
Right.
He got some heat. He did a $6 million man. We went to the football game with Lee Majors. Sonny talked Lee into being with me when I was a press agent. And Lee said, okay, but you got to handle my wife for nothing. And I said, who's your wife? He said, Farrah Fawcett Majors. She was doing commercials.
You're not married?
No.
Single?
Single. The women I loved enough, I never thought I could get along with well enough to marry them. And the women I got along with well enough, I never loved enough.
But you live alone in a big house, Carol Lombard's old house.
Yes,
Isn't that
she built it right
strange?
after she, in 1936, when she was divorced from William Powell, and just before she met Clark Gable. They lived for a while in this house, but he had a place out in the valley,
Right.
and then they moved out there.
What kind of feeling does this house have at night, Jay? I mean, when you're alone in this house, you must have that, there's got to be kind of a ghost spirit there, isn't there? What do you think?
Well, I had a chef there for a long time who said that there was a ghost there. I never saw a ghost. I don't really believe in ghosts.
I see.
Because, see, it's interesting. The chef reminded me of a thing. I've been in this town, like Mike Todd and a lot of different people have been. I've been rich and broke 3 different times.
3?
But I've never been poor. Now, here's the difference. When I was broke, I didn't have enough money to go to the supermarket. But I would then have casseroles made out of canned goods that the chef would make. But at least I had a chef. That's the difference between being broke and poor.
So you've really tasted Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when Stacy Keach went to jail and I had to go out on the road for 17 months, I put 2 mortgages on Carol Lombard's house to give me enough money to go out and tell the people that you only pay once for a debt, once for a mortgage, and once for a and the man is paying. Which is my camera, because I'd like to have done that one right
Go
into
ahead,
you,
that's okay.
which I can't see a red light.
You don't?
Which
That's
is my camera.
that one right there.
Oh, that's my camera?
Yeah, right.
Okay, how's it? And then, so we got 400,000 letters of people writing into CBS, and they've let us come back as a movie.
Right.
And there were people who wanted to help us, who worked for free on the movie, not the one we just finished,
Right.
but The Return of My Camera. Mickey Rooney worked for free, Bruce Boxleitner worked for free, Dabney Coleman, Dionne Warwick to help us get back. We did 22 episodes. Then they canceled us with a new regime. Now our first movie we just finished last night, called Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer, Murder Takes All, and it's with Linda Carter is guest starring with Stacey and Michelle Phillips, Lyle Alzado, and it's a lot of fun.
Where does Jay Bernstein want to go from here?
To lunch at the Ivy.
No, come on, Jay. What do you really? I mean, you know Hollywood
I don't know.
very.
I mean,
Where
I really don't know. I mean,
you know,
I'm in the middle right now again.
You're getting, you were away for a while. I mean, but now you're back in the news again. I mean, just now, you just had something happen at the Heartbreak.
Well,
I
I
think
was
that was
a
kind of
hero.
interesting.
This
What
was
happened
very
there?
heroic. I was sitting there with Bruce Boxleitner and some people, and this guy was being a little rough with a lady. So I asked him to stop, and he told me that he didn't want to, and a few expletives. So I picked up my tossed salad, hit him in the face with my tossed salad, and got him on the side with this hand. Didn't knock him out because I'm not that big. But what happened is now they've called me, and they're naming at the J. Bernstein tossed salad
I
at the
love
restaurant, and they're going to have it by next Monday on the menus, and they were offering it last night as their specialty, the J. Bernstein tossed salad.
J. Bernstein, do you have a lot?
I love heroes. You know.
Yeah. Do you have
Alan Ladd was my favorite.
Was he your favorite?
Oh yeah, that's how I grew up. That's how I got
But he
into
was
all this.
small. He was
I came out here to meet Alan Ladd. I mean, I was uncoordinated. I was in Oklahoma City, and I was the fattest kid in my class, and I used to tell my parents I was going to sports practice, and I'd go get on the bus, go downtown and watch Alan Ladd hit Howard Da Silva to save Veronica Lake, or I'd watch Robert Taylor, or I'd watch Clark Gable, or I would watch John Garfield, or whoever it would be, but I lived through all of these stars. And luckily, I've been able to come out here, and I met Alan Ladd. William Holden was one of my heroes. He took me after the Wild Bunch to Kenya, and I shot the last elephant for conservation hunting.
I love it.
The last elephant shot legally in Kenya in 1973, and I managed Susan Hayward, I managed Glenn Ford.
Tell me about Susan Hayward. Tell me. I just love this lady. She was my favorite lady. She was a lady.
Too.
She was the most powerful lady on film. She was a woman.
Yeah.
Tell me about her in person. I mean, how did she?
Well, it was interesting because a lot of people thought Susan was either stuck up or that there was a problem because she was really a loner. What happened was she was myopic, and the glasses she had to wear were this thick, like Arnold Stang.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to go out because she says, one time, Jay, I'm sitting there, and John Wayne walks up to me. We've just done the movie together, and I didn't know who it was because she couldn't see. So she didn't want to go out and embarrass herself, so she stayed home. And that's when the town started saying, well, she thinks she's too good for us, because they didn't have contact lenses then, and particularly for people with, who really couldn't see, and she was extremely myopic, and that's what happened. But during her last years, she just said, like in one of her movies, I want to live. So I taught her how to shoot rifles. We went to Africa, and she went on a leopard safari. But the point was she couldn't see the leopard because it was at twilight, so she stayed there till she caught pneumonia, then we came back. And once I remember calling her, and it took her about 20 times to answer the phone when she was in Fort Lauderdale. I said, what's wrong? I said, you took you 20 times? She said, well, I couldn't get to the phone. I said, why? She said, well, I broke my ankle. I said, how'd you break your ankle, Susan? She's in her 50s now. She says, my motorcycle fell on it.
Right.
I said, your what? So my motorcycle fell on it. I said, what are you doing on a motorcycle? She said, well, I met this pilot, and we went scuba diving. I mean, this lady loved life, and she was one of the nicest people in the whole world.
I'm looking at you. You love life. It seems that J. Bernstein really loves Hollywood. Why do you love Hollywood so much, J. Bernstein?
Well, I've always needed role models in my life, and I had them. When I was a kid, we had the presidents, we had the military, we had whether it was MacArthur or whatever, but ever since Watergate, we haven't had any political heroes. Ever since Vietnam, we haven't had any military heroes, Eisenhower's and Pattons and people. So what happens is that only leaves sports, and we don't have a lot of sports heroes because they do commercials for electric eye garages, electric lawnmowers, and pantyhose. And so it left it down to music, and I don't like what music says. I like the Julie Budd kind of music, but I'm talking about the guys with the green hair and the spike bracelets and telling you all sorts of bad things. You know, Ozzy Osbourne, all this. It was the actors. So I helped to create the image of the 70s, which was Farrah Fawcett, which was anti-alcohol, anti-drugs, pro-exercise. I brought back the heroes because when I came along, we had what was called the President Carter Soft Detectives. Barnaby Jones, Cannon. I brought in, with the Ronald Reagan era, Mike Hammer, which bequeathed the Equalizer, Spencer for Hire, the Hunter. All of those came with me, and the actors that became the younger heroes, like the Alan Ladds, etc.
You mentioned Julie Budd, wonderful singer, America's one of great pure singers. She's a pure singer, no gimmicks. She has no gimmicks at all.
She's one of my favorites.
Julie Budd, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm loving this.
Are you really?
To this whole
you
thing.
know, this man is Mr. Hollywood, really.
He is.
Isn't he?
But you can only do this in America. I mean, I'm listening to this, and here's this nice Jewish boy from Oklahoma City.
Bernstein,
Bernstein. And, he was sort of, well, I get the feeling you were sort of introverted as a child.
I wasn't an introvert. I was just fat and not coordinated.
And
Oh,
a thinker. And
a thinker, yes,
you know.
yes, yes.
And he had a dream, and look what he's done with his
isn't
life.
that great? But
You
you
can't
had a
do
dream.
that anywhere else.
But you had a dream, Judy. You were just a little girl, not even a teenager.
That's right.
And you went upstate New York and sang.
Yeah.
And
Well,
what happened?
I was I knew what I wanted to do when I was this big.
What happened?
You
Judy?
know, a lot of kids
You did
don't.
talent shows up there, and then Merv Griffith came into your life.
That's right.
Tell me about the Merv
Well, there's a
Okay.
Bernstein in my life by the name of Herb Bernstein, whose brother's Jay Bernstein also. You Jay Bernsteins keep following me around.
Griffith. Okay.
I was in the Catskill Mountains. I was doing I was like 11 years old. I was doing a talent show. My cousin said, I bet you won't go into this show. And I said, sure I will. You know, bet you won't jump off the building. Of course I will. So I won the contest. Herb Bernstein was there.
What was the song? I want to know the song. Do you remember the song?
I did 2 tunes. I did Moon River,
Uh-huh.
and I did Who Could I Turn To. I was very dramatic. Anyway, so
11.
I won the contest, and Herbie cut a demonstration record on me. My parents did not want me in show business.
They didn't.
Oh, please. I mean, only bums are in show business. And a girl to have a daughter in show business
From New York.
from New York. Right. Orthodox Jewish family. You know, to have a daughter in show business, they'd rather die.
Right.
You know, so and they supported it because they knew I really, really wanted to do it. But they were really, really watching with a keen eye. They were
Right.
very, very worried about me. Herbie was recording Merv Griffin because he's basically an arranger and a conductor and a producer of recorded projects.
Right.
And Merv was at the session. He was recording Merv, and on the break, Merv heard me sing, and 2 days later, he put me on the show. And you see, I was only 12 years old when I met Merv, and I couldn't work clubs. I was underage.
Underage, right.
And there were a
Liquor.
lot of concert halls I couldn't
Right,
work because
exactly.
they had a lot of booze that they were selling at these places. And in certain states, you can't do that. In Nevada, you could do anything. When I was 13 years old, 14 years old, I could work Nevada. I could work Tahoe. I could work Reno. I could work Vegas.
But you work at Atlantic City, and they just gave you Entertainer Award of
Well,
the Year.
they
honored you?
They have a whole thing where they have, you know, people who are singers and actors and special acts, and they name certain people, and they acknowledge certain performers that they like, you know. I'm excited because we just did the back lot, and
Here in Hollywood.
and I didn't know what was going to happen because I haven't been in L.A. in 3 years, you know. And they turned
stay in
away
New
about
York?
2,000 people.
You live in New York now, huh? 2,000 people?
Something like that. People are still calling saying, is she there? Is she there? And, you know, I only took 1 weekend because I didn't know what was going to happen. I figured, well, I'll just go in and see, you know. But I was overwhelmed. And they were lined up at Robertson Boulevard, and I was pulling up in the car, and I said, Herbie, what are all these people doing here? They were carrying chairs. And the fire department called and said, if they bring in 1 more chair, we close down the place. So I'm going back for 2
How
weeks.
wonderful. Jay, did you ever handle singers? Do you ever, when you go out in cabarets and see some talent like Julie, a young girl, do you see that certain extra, it's got to be that certain extra spark too, isn't it?
But I've never really been in the music business except when I had a PR firm. But I handled Sammy Davis Jr. for 13
Yeah, exactly.
years,
I
Dionne
understand
Warwick,
that. Yeah, right.
So you know what it is.
Chicago,
yeah,
Blood,
yeah,
Sweat,
you've
and
handled
Tears,
the tops of all.
Yeah,
Yes, I understand.
Dean Martin. I had you know like 50. Rick Nelson, all those people. But as a manager, I never handled any. I had Petula Clark, Aretha Franklin, Dusty Springfield, and Diana Ross when they were the 4 top at one time.
Right,
You know,
right,
Jay,
right.
when you're in PR, I've always thought that PR people were like extended managers.
They are.
You know,
Yeah, they
it's
are.
a natural
They really
progression
are.
to go
Yes.
from public relations to management because,
Right.
you know, sometimes you're even more creative than the manager. And you get to know things about the artist that maybe the manager doesn't see. He's too close. You have to be creative. You have to come in and find things about them that other people don't see so that you can
Yes.
be creative. I really think that people from PR make great managers.
I gotta tell you, like my press agent, Anita Alberts, is sitting over there. When I went on the road for Stacy for 17 months, she set up a schedule, and I was right there with Jacqueline Smith selling whatever she was selling, and Sidney Sheldon with his thing, and she was able to do that, which I don't think any manager or anybody else could have done that for me.
That's right. And they always go into management.
Even Larry King gave me 3 hours.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I love
He's
Larry
terrific.
King. I think
He's
he's the
terrific.
greatest.
Great.
Greatest on TV. You brought a tape. I'd like to see that tape.
Wanna see
From,
my
what is
tape?
it from?
I was co-hosting a telethon here in town.
I love that song. May
You've
I?
Got Tonight by Bob Seger.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
Love to play it and roll it. Legends, legends. She has worked with
I know.
legends. God,
Your
that's great.
clients.
Oh, tell me something about Frank Sinatra, Jimmy Durante.
Well, Jimmy Durante was adorable. I had a great time with Jimmy Durante.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah. He did his
very
last performance in Vegas with me. And he was terrific. And audiences loved him. And I learned something about people like Liberace and Jimmy Durante. They loved their audience.
They loved their audience.
They loved their audience.
Does Julie love her audience?
Yeah, she
Do you?
does. Because they're real loyal to me. You know, they don't come to my show because I'm hot at the moment or I'm cold at the moment. Or they come there because they want to be involved with what I'm doing. And they've been doing that, and I appreciate that.
You spend a lot of time in New York, Julie?
Yeah, I bounce. I have an apartment in New York and have an apartment here in L.A.
Does people say, Julie Budd, she sounds so much like Streisand?
No.
They don't?
People said that when I was a child.
When you were a child?
When I was a child. Yeah.
Ah,
it's really
that's
strange. When
interesting.
I was a child, they said that.
Jay, look at her eyes. Aren't they gorgeous? She has the most gorgeous eyes.
I already asked her
You
if I
have?
could come see her show
She-
and have a drink with her afterwards and look in her eyes.
I told
eyes
him we
are
didn't have to
beautiful.
change the initials on the towels.
Spillane, come on. Tell me, how did that show become about?
I was on an
the Mickey
airplane
Spillane.
flying from LA to New York, and I made some of my biggest deals flying first class. 'Cause if you know,
Is that how you
Yeah.
do it, Jay?
That's it?
I was sitting there, and I look over, and there's Mickey Spillane, my childhood hero.
Uh-huh.
And he's reading a newspaper, and he's got on that pork pie hat. And I look over, and I said, she walked towards me, her hips waving a happy hello. And he put down the paper, and he looked, and he laughed and thing. And then he picked up the paper again, because I guess, you know, he's been through this before. He said, women stuck to my camera like lint on a blue serge suit. and then we started talking, and he said that I really don't deal in Hollywood. I haven't in 15 years because I don't really like the people there. And he told me what he didn't like about him. But by the time we landed, I guess he didn't think I was one of those. So we made a deal for $1 in the beginning to gave me the rights to be partners on my camera. And Mickey has just written, first time in 15 years, he's got a new Mike Hammer book coming out.
Really?
Yeah, a new Mickey Spillane Mike Hammer book. You know, the first one was I, the Jury, you know, back in the 40s, and it's just come out, and it's going to be out in about 5 months.
Do you have a woman in your life now, Jay? Come on, get secret person, you know, that you don't let people know about? Certain girl?
Did I hide in the closet?
Yeah, because you're 50 years old, you know, you're a good-looking guy, you know.
50 years old? I'm 40 years
40
old.
years old? 40 years old? Forgive me.
41,
40. Okay, 41.
42,
Whatever, I'm sorry. I
43.
made a mistake. I'm 50. But anyway, you know, let's face it, you're a good-looking guy, you know, eligible. Bernstein, you know.
Well, so why
Tell
do you
me.
just have to have one?
Well, you have many. I know you
Well,
have many. Everybody knows you have many, but you must have
I
that
don't ask
certain...
you about your sex life.
No, you must have some special lady hidden away that you planning to get married soon? No?
No, I'm not planning to
not?
get married soon.
You're not?
No.
How about you? Do you have a man in your life?
I was married and divorced.
Were
so
you married,
Yeah.
too?
Did you know that? I was
No, I
married
did
for
not.
7 years. Yeah.
Really?
In fact, when I met you, I was married.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
When I interviewed her last time. Do you have any children?
I raised his son.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I don't see myself getting married, not unless I wanted to have children. If I met someone that I was wild, I would have to be so wild about that person to want to get married, because I don't see myself being married right now. But you know,
Will you marry me?
Jay,
I'll have
see?
Chinese food with you, and then we'll talk, okay?
Chinese food.
Well,
you see that? I love it.
First time I ever proposed to
Love the
anybody.
Jewish girl with the Chinese food. Julie, you seem very happy.
I am happy.
Are you?
I feel like I'm in a very, very good place.
You're
in
satisfied
life.
right now?
And I'm enjoying Los Angeles in a way that I never have before. It's interesting. I really made that sort of transition.
What makes it, Julie? I mean, because
I must just be ready to be here now. I think sometimes, you know, it just gets down to that kind of thing. I'm just ready to be here, you know.
Jay, you spent a lot of time in Hollywood.
I've,
New York?
No, here.
You never lived in New
You
York,
don't like
Jay?
New York, or do you
No,
go
I
back and
like
forth?
to stay here.
You like Hollywood?
Yeah.
Did you
I
ever
stay
live in
here.
New York?
No.
No?
He's not a New York man.
No, he's
Jay
not,
Bernstein is
no.
strictly California. He loves California. He's considered Mr. California, Hollywood. Really? Why do they consider you Mr. Hollywood? You have discovered a lot of stars like Farrah Fawcett and Summers. And tell me about Summers, first of all. What kind of girl is she?
Suzanne is lovely. She has, in fact, when my house burned down, part of the Carol
Right.
Lombard house, she offered me her home, which was the Gypsy Rose Lee home. She has 5.
a lullaby. Somewhere over the rain.
Well, here we come with Varla Jean Merman, back in town again.
Oh,
How are
yes.
you?
I'm so excited.
You are good. You got everybody excited here in
Oh,
LA.
good.
Especially West Hollywood. My
Oh, my
God.
goodness. Yeah, the boys are coming.
Opening. They certainly are coming more ways than one, darling. Believe
Skippy.
me. Ooh, darling. Well, you're just incredible.
Oh, thank
You
you.
just had that audience in the palm of your hand,
Oh,
eating
it was
out of
fun.
there. You had a good time, it seems.
I did. I had a great time.
This theater is just a fun theater, isn't it?
Oh, it's a fantastic theater, the Renberg Theater at the LA Gay and Lesbian Center. But it's fantastic. It's beautiful because it's intimate, but it has plenty of seats to get them all in there, and the beautiful lights and
I saw
beautiful white baby
Quentin
grand.
Crisp there. Quentin Crisp.
Oh, you did?
His last performance, he was there. He was so good. Oh, God, I missed him so.
You know, I've never seen Quentin Crisp.
You what?
I've never seen Quentin Crisp. I know. I'm sorry.
You naughty girl. Naughty girl. He was so wonderful. Oh, God. Tell me about your show. What is a new material? What's the name of the show now?
The show is called All Washed Up.
All, what do you
All
mean
Washed
by
Up.
all washed up?
Well, all
Clean?
washed up. I've cleaned up my life. Yes, Skippy. I had, actually, the last time I was in LA, I went to a barbecue restaurant, which I will not say the name on the air. I don't need another lawsuit. But I had a catfish po' boy. And it really, I got so sick for 3, 4, 5 days. I was so sick. I had to be rushed to the hospital. We had to cancel shows. But then on the internet, people began saying that I had died.
You're kidding.
It's worse than being dead. It
I
truly
think I
is.
heard about this.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so, oh, my dress is coming down. I didn't zip it. I
Why
forgot to
not?
zip it.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, well, anyway, where were we? Oh, so I went to the hospital, the whole thing, but people wrote on the internet that I had died, and then people were calling the theater wanting their money back for the tickets because they thought I had died. I know, they could have sent flowers. They wanted their money back. Anyway.
All washed up.
So this
now.
is about like changing your life and realizing what you have done excessively and trying to veer back to the path.
But you come out and cleaning, washing your hands and all
Well,
that.
you know, you
Tell
have
me
to
that stuff you're
transfer.
using.
I know, that's Purell.
Is it?
You know, you transfer one addiction to another. No booze, and you start cleaning your hands. Oh,
And even clean the audience. You even try to clean the audience.
well, just on the first row.
They were so good. Oh, they just
great.
loved you. What an audience. Not only men in the audience, they had women in the audience.
I know. I get a very mixed crowd. You know, especially I've noticed. I've been going usually I've just performed in gay bars and things, and it's been a lot of gay men,
Right.
obviously. But lately I noticed I get like almost half women, not half women, but
You get a lot.
yeah, a third, maybe.
They're coming.
You know, when I was in London, it was a lot. We got a lot of women.
Uh-huh.
A lot of women.
Tell me about London. You were in London, but the day you went, tell me
I
about
know.
the
I
day.
left on September 10th.
September
Which is
10th.
Horrible. From Newark at like 9:30 that evening. So we fly on the plane and we get to Heathrow, and I'm with my friend, and we get out, and I look on the TV, and I see a plane flying to the World Trade Center. Now, and I just assume, what is this?
Right,
so
right.
we keep walking, you know. And the next TV, you know, there's like smoke, and so we just were transfixed. And it was such a strange time to be out of the country because you thought, oh my God, because I'm from New York.
Of course.
I need to go home, but, you know, I shouldn't go home.
Same thing
And then-
happened with Kennedy when he died.
Oh,
he got
really?
killed. The same thing in London. Go ahead.
And isn't it a strange feeling?
Right.
Of like almost, it's many strange feelings, but one, you also feel like you're not a part of it and you need to be there to, and you just feel so left out and weird. It's just a strange
But
feeling.
the English people, tell me the reaction.
Fantastic. And the theater that we are at called the Soho Theater, they were so fantastic and sweet to us. And they knew that it was a very, you know, traumatic thing and to be away from the country. And nobody knew what was going to happen at that point either. I mean, we still do not know, but it was such, no one knew what to do, and they were so wonderful to us, and they're really very supportive. And you know, the English people were so great. I mean, everyone was so sweet.
What was the show called? Same thing?
No, this is the show I did here last,
Oh,
The
okay.
Very Worst of Varla Jean Merman.
What's that all about? The very worst? What do you mean the very worst?
Well, it is my greatest hits, but I'm an optimistic person, so if the best is yet to come,
Oh,
then that
okay.
means all the material I've already done is going to be
Ethel Merman. Where's this Ethel Merman come in? Come on, Varla Jean Merman.
Well, Skippy, as you know, I'm the illegitimate daughter of Ethel Merman and Ernest Borgnine, but I'm not allowed to talk about them.
Why aren't you?
Another lawsuit.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. I just don't want to test the waters. But you know, I'm so excited in this show. Actually, my new show, I get a visit from my dead mother.
You certainly do.
Friday,
and that
Saturday,
lady,
and Sundays.
Who is that lady in the show?
Christine Zabornik. She's fantastic.
She does Ethel Merman.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Hyper Ethel.
Yes, she is. She really is dynamite. She really is.
Oh, Christine is fantastic, and she's done all kinds of shows in New York, and she's most known, I guess, recently for doing Forbidden Broadway.
Uh-huh.
She's on
That's
one of
right.
the
I
albums.
did see her
Yes.
in that show.
She's fantastic.
She is, really.
She's great.
She's a New Yorker, a real New Yorker.
Well, she's actually from Cleveland, but she's lived in New York for
How
25
did you get her
years.
to work with you?
I know. I owe her a lot. You know, we've worked together in New York. The first thing we did together, I was at Carnegie Hall in the recital hall, and we did a Christmas concert. And she did that with me. We do this great Christmas medley. It's just so fantastic. And that's where we started working together. But in fact, Christine had written a song called Surabaya Santa. And she had written it with Jason Robert Brown, who's a composer. And I called her, not knowing her, saying, I would like to sing that song in my Christmas concert. And she said, no.
I love it.
So I said, well, I'm doing the show at Carnegie Hall, and you could be in the show if you let me sing that number.
Oh, great.
It worked.
London, let's get back to London. Okay. Tell me, opening night. Oh, I hear you had a great.
We had a great crowd. We had Boy George there, who was fantastic.
Boy George, he came to opening night?
He did.
Oh, tell me about that.
I know, it was so nice. He was great. I had on less makeup than he did, though. No, he was fantastic. He was so sweet, and he wrote a wonderful column about the show. And a lot of people
He writes a column?
He writes a column.
Does he really?
Every Sunday in the, I don't know which newspaper it is, but he writes one every week.
What kind of guy is Boy George?
He seemed very quiet and reserved.
He is, isn't he? He's shy.
Very shy.
Yeah.
You know, and he had a picture. He had a bag, like a book bag, and it had Liza Minnelli's face on it. So I was like, I love that old bag, and that purse isn't bad either. He didn't find that funny.
Where do you get your material, darling?
Well, it depends. I mean, a lot of material, to tell you the truth, if I go out and have a drink and I'm sitting there while people are talking to me, I'm sitting there writing a show.
Are you really? That's clever. That's very good.
But I get it from different things. There is some very strange numbers in this show. The last show was very sort of the easy material that I came to test the waters in L.A.
Right.
And in this show, there's a little bit more dark and I guess I'd say risky material. But you know, they're really
the audience loves it. They love it here in L.A. They love it. The opening night. God, what an audience you had.
Very good.
They loved you. I had a woman sitting next to me. She was just laughing away, peeing her pants. I said, "Lady, are you all right?"
I hope she writes for a paper.
God, she was just, she was hysterical.
Oh,
She's
good.
never seen you, and she thought you were but she thought you were a real woman. She kept saying, a real woman. And, you know, but anyway, let's not talk about Jeffrey.
Yeah, don't get the camera too close.
How long have you been doing Varla Jean Merman? How long have you been doing that?
You know, I started dressing outside of high school, I graduated '88. And
were you in drag in high school at all?
Go to high school and drag twice.
Did you really?
We did, because it was a boarding school. It was
a boarding school?
Well, for arts, math, and science. It was kind of a gifted and talented school. And, you know, we could get away, and we were away from our parents. And one day, my friend Chad, who lives in London now, as a matter of fact, we just decided to go to school in drag. You know, and no one said a word. Because they were letting us be creative. And look what look what's happened.
I love it.
I'm actually very famous at the school now because, you know, it's sort of a kind of prestigious school, and here I am. Not that what I'm doing is not prestigious, but, you know, it's sort of
You're
well-known.
having fun, it seems.
Oh, I am. It's
Are
so
you really?
great. I cannot believe I get to do this. I mean, I get, you know, a lot of free time. I mean, and I get to write, and I've been a little busy lately, so I'm going to take some time off actually in January and try to write some new things.
What's kind of a day for you, Varla Jean Merman? I mean, what time do you get up in the morning or in the afternoon?
I get up early.
Do you really?
I do.
You aim for the computer, or what do you do?
No,
What's your day like?
I get up and go to Starbucks every single day.
Do you really? Is it with the pants?
In West Hollywood, every single day. You can catch
You bring
me
the
there
tape
a lot.
recorder and stuff like that
I
with
do,
you?
and I think a lot just sitting out there. I can't sit at home and write. I have to be...
A lot of people don't do that. The youngies. The youngies today, like yourself, they love to go to Starbucks and hang around with coffee. I thought they're cruising or something, but they're not.
Yeah,
They're
we're writing, Skippy.
You're
We're
right.
writing.
You're right.
Trying to find a writing partner.
There's a number in your act that this lady just could not believe. She was pissing her pants. The number with the cheese thing.
Oh, that's one of my signature numbers.
Signature number.
I do it in every show.
You do.
Yes.
Let's see it. Let's show my
Okay.
audience. I love to show this to my audience. It is a great number.
Oh, thank you.
And the cheese company must love you.
Well, actually, Nabisco is not very nice.
They aren't?
I think people were even boycotting Nabisco a few years ago.
Oh,
because they're not
okay.
but so I've tried to find a different brand, but Nabisco's the best.
Is the best?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Who knew that while other little girls were dreaming of Eric Estrada and Jodie Foster, that she was dreaming of something not logical, but something flavorful, tangible, and digestible. In short, a miracle. A miracle of space-age compressed food product. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot do a show without my cheese. Ham sandwiches taste better when heated with a huge squirt of cheddar. Sleepwalking through a Swiss colony. Dream a little dream of cheese. Look out! Gotcha! Say Canterbury, then kiss me. Rub my Roquefort and hug my whole party. Feta, feta, she is a blue or a green. Dream a little dream of cheese. And love liquor, oh dear. I melt in your arms. I little dawn, dear. Make love to me in a Hickory Farms arms. Swiss cheese upon ricotta. Cream cheese isn't a cheese, but love it. Hey, I got it. Strong as Stilton or weak as Colby. Peekaboo. Dream a little dream of cheese. I'm longing to linger till dawn. Make love to me with a sharp provolone. Visions of goodness, they dance in my head. 3 kinds of cheese make Velveeta spread. Every thought cans for love and American squeeze. Dream a little dream of
Wow, that is Yuma Sumac. What a voice. Yuma Sumac. I'm telling you, not Maria Callas. Yuma Sumac, and those legs, they go all the way up.
You know.
You got legs, girl. I mean, I'm noted for the boy with the Betty Grable legs, but I'll tell you something. Varla Jean Merman, I mean, you kicked like, did you study?
I didn't. I just do step aerobics.
Oh boy, you and Jacqueline Stallone. She does that too.
I know.
She does that.
We're in class together.
Boy, are you kidding? I'll tell you. There is a number. Boy, you do in this show. It's kicking. This things. What happens to all that stuff? That just...
I swallow, Skippy.
You swallow it, really?
I do.
God, that's a lot of cheese, darling. Every performance?
Every performance.
Do you ever get sick?
When I had the food poisoning last time I was in
Right.
LA,
Right.
I could barely stand to do it. It just, oh, but I crave it. In fact, I get the cheese and I have to keep it in the dressing room. If I keep it at home, I'll just sit there and I'll eat it all day. So,
That's incredible. Your numbers are just...
I'm addicted.
You are. Tell me about growing up in New Orleans. Is that where you're from?
Yes.
Tell me about New Orleans.
Well, a great thing about New Orleans is that, and that's how the drag came about. There's so many parties and so many Mardi Gras about dressing up in costume. That's sort of where everything came from for me.
From New Orleans?
Yes, just like, you know, my parents, you know, don't like it.
They don't accept it?
Well, my mother doesn't even know.
Still today?
Yes.
If I were Jean Merman, you're sitting there telling me, Jeffrey, I won't say. You're telling me she doesn't know?
She doesn't. I think now, I did a special on HBO, so I think that I thought, oh, my mother will never see it because she doesn't even know who Madonna is. So, she doesn't. So then, but all my cousins, my brother told me, they were just like, oh, watching television. And there's, Uncle Jeff,
Uncle Jeff.
I know.
Isn't that wonderful?
So, but I think somebody may have told my mother, but, we just don't talk about it. We don't talk about many things.
I see. Working with Lily Tomlin. Tell me, you worked with Lily Tomlin. Wonderful actress, wonderful comedian.
Oh, fantastic.
Generous lady on stage.
Amazing. And what a great, what a pro too. She came in. We were all rehearsing for the event. She came in and had her lines memorized. Got the script.
Was
had
it
her lines
Caged?
memorized. It was Caged, based on the movie.
Yeah.
And she played and she did it as Ernestine. I can't remember the name of the character she played, but she plays kind of the grande dame who comes in, who's going to take over the prison. And so I played the Eleanor Parker role, and at the end,
Eleanor Parker. People don't really know that name real, but
can you believe?
She's still alive. And I know her grandson.
She is still alive, right?
Yeah, she lives in Orange County.
Oh
no,
my
Palm
gosh.
Beach or Palm, Florida, somewhere. But no, Palm Springs she lives, and she is just a great lady.
Oh, really?
When you mentioned that name just now, wow. I mean, people don't know that.
I
Anyway,
know.
go ahead.
Well, and people probably know her from The Sound of Music, but all of her early stuff, no one knows.
No, not at all.
But what a great role, because I got to be an innocent girl thrown in prison who ends up pregnant and then ends up having a lesbian affair with the Lily Tomlin character to get out of prison.
To get out of prison.
Right.
It happens too, that does happen in prison.
I've heard.
Tell me about Joe Pub, the New York.
Path.
The
Yes.
Path.
Oh.
Joe Path.
Right, they have, what they did, they made a cabaret, which is the best room in New York. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous
You
room.
mean the theater is a cabaret now?
Well, in the same beautiful building that they have right there down, below Astor Square, Astor Place, they built a beautiful cabaret.
Oh, really?
And it's so great with tables and chairs and all on different levels.
How cute. How many does a seat?
I think about 200.
Really? So it's not intimate?
Well, it is intimate the way it's done, or you can fit people at the bar. It's the way they've done it is such a genius room. And it's almost in the round, but not quite.
You did Mary Sunshine in Chicago?
I did.
Tell me about Mary Sunshine. That's a cute show.
Oh, I did, I played in the show Chicago. I played Mary Sunshine, and I was the second cover on Broadway for 2 years, but I never went on. It became a running joke.
So you ran the national tour. You did the national tour.
And then I went on the national tour, the first national touring company.
Was it fun doing that show?
I loved it, but I need doing the same show over and over and over. And when you are in such like a big Broadway commercial show, there's not really room for ad-libbing, and and I like to have a good time.
You like to ad-lib.
It was different. I do. I like to act in the moment, and I still am very scripted, but I like to I like to veer if I want to or need to.
Varla, how about TV? When you have to have a script on television.
I got a couple things in the works.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah, but you do a lot of TV. You've been on
do.
and all that.
Well, I've done lots of little things, but I'm hoping for a big thing.
What do you mean by a big thing? I mean, Farrah Merman.
We'll see. But a lot of things are coming my way, so it looks good.
What has been the hardest for you, being what you are doing now, Farrah Merman? What has been the hardest for you as dressing up as you are? Has it been hard for you?
It has, because
you get
especially
people, yeah, go ahead.
You get two types of a lot of the guys that I'm attracted to. Also, most people don't even know that out of this, no one ever has any idea that it's me. Never, 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 never.
When you're out of drag.
Right, and I find that gay men especially have this really horrible stereotype towards people who dress in drag.
They do.
And they just automatically assume that you are a certain type of person, and they're very,
But those are the young gays.
The young
gays, the very young.
Well, I found that in England, too, that people were not that way. I think it's really sort of an American, and I'm sure it'll catch across the world.
It's
so I'm going to go to Europe quick and find a man.
Here in America, yeah. Because years ago, people liked the drags, you know what I mean?
Yeah, people are very weird about, this whole thing about this kind of faux masculinity now that I think people, are trying to compensate for the years of their life. Maybe they were called sissy and things, and now, trying to be strong and tough and not
Were you
have
ever a
anything to do.
sissy boy when you were young, would you say?
Oh, yes.
Big as you are, were you a sissy boy?
You know, I was when I was really young, but I learned quick in Louisiana that, you don't function. So, I started playing football and doing all that.
You did play football?
I did.
Really?
There are some hilarious
Did you drive a
pictures of
truck and all that?
No, my parents wouldn't let me behind a wheel of a car.
But I got another clip of you singing this wonderful song, and I think you close this number with the...
I do. I bring this back in this year's show.
This is a good number,
Oh,
and I
thank
loved
you.
it. I thought it was very, very touching. I like to show this clip with my audience.
Oh,
It's
great.
a wonderful, wonderful number.
They're all but gone. There was a time when madness could mean genius. Now being off the wall, well, you guys, it's frowned upon. If you're a lunatic, well, people think you're sick. You're unbalanced, you're unsettled, you're unsound. Everyone's obsessed with acting normal. Well, for once, why don't we give in to this crazy world we live in and act insane, or completely lose your brain. Try to let go of reality and go against the grain. Do jetés down the street with chicken bones tied to your feet. And no one will come near you. In fact, they'll probably fear you. Lose your cool, lose your head. Shout out, Joanne Worley's dead! And no one will expect you to explain. Speak of world destruction and alien abduction. Act insane, act insane, act insane. Make no sense, get intense while you argue with a fence. And if you're charged with murder, it's an excellent defense. Go berserk off the beam, let out a piercing scream. Blame the problems that you're having on that goddamn window laughing. Come on, try some naked in the nude. And I know you're one caboose short of a train. Go on, go off your rocker. Insist I am Eddie Crocker. Act insane, give the belfry bats free rein. Act insane, act insane, act insane. Don't conform, give a hoot. Act as crazy as a coot. Tell the cops that HR Puffin stuff has murdered Freddie the Flute. Tell your boss to beware of the big pink dancing bear. Act wacko, weird and wide-eyed, wear your panties on the outside. Be obscene, scream out threats, then blame it on Tourette's. Converse with dirty birds and be profane. Go on and drool and tremble, try to act simple, act insane, go and dig out Marjorie Main. Go too far, be bizarre, claim you're the daughter of a czar. Never ever flush a toilet, store your waste in mason jars. Eat five, lunch, and they'll know you're out to lunch. Preach apocalyptic sermon, blame your mother's at the Merman. Be a nut, be a loon, desecrate a Disney tune, and bitch not mine. I'll build a Jodie Foster shrine. Act insane, act insane, act insane. Good night.
Wow. That number is like Eva Tangaway. I don't care, right, Margie? Isn't it, Marge? It's like, I don't care. I love that number. That's a great number. Who wrote that number?
Well, I wrote the lyrics to it. It's a parody of a Disney song.
I think it's great.
Oh,
It's a fun number on stage, and
Thank
having
you.
a good time with it. Tell me, you're going to be signing things around town or
I
appearing?
am. Well, I have my new CD
Uh-huh.
called The Very Worst of Varla Merman, which was a show I did here last time. And I'm going to be at Don't Panic on November 17th, which is a Saturday, from 3 to 4, signing,
and everybody will be there smiling
Let's
at
hope.
you. Yeah, they will. I'll be signing my books, too.
Oh, good. We're both.
Tomorrow, matter of
have
fact, I
writer's
can't
cramp.
tell it, but that's where I'll be signing. I have a book out, too. It's called
I know.
The Boy with the Betty Grable Legs. Look at
And
this.
the billboard.
You like the billboard? Oh, and Sunset. Look at my cover. That's my cover, boy.
Fantastic.
It's doing well. But tell me about your date, how long you're going to be in town. for? How long
I'm going to be here till December 2nd. We're Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Ooh.
Every
It's so
night,
good.
8, 8, and 7. 7 on Sunday, and we're here until December 2nd, but not on the 23rd through 25th.
And I understand you're donating a lot of money to people and helping people and the firemen and all that. I understand that. That's very nice of you, Myra.
Well, we did a great benefit for Elton John's AIDS Foundation when we were over there, which was a great success.
You're
And
such a giving
they brought,
lady.
Oh,
You really
please,
are.
no, I'm so fortunate to be able to do this. So.
Yeah. But you know something? I look at my book saying, you know, sissy boy growing up and stuff, and you know, the gays today, they have it made, the young gays. They do.
Oh,
I'm going
agree.
back. They have it made now, Varla, the young gays, because they get away with murder, it seems.
And they've never had to hide. They don't know what it is like really to
let it open, to be themselves. You know what I mean?
It's pretty amazing. And the
Yeah.
people that really had to work for that to happen, I mean, that's why it makes me so upset that people don't know some of these celebrities and things that really that molded gay culture, and these people who are just forgotten, or people who have helped the gay movement in so many ways. And now it's just assumed that you deserve rights, and yes, you do, but somebody had to work for you to get
You're darn
those.
right. Quentin Chris.
Exactly.
And Skippy Lowe. I've always been flamboyant. I've always been myself. You do what you are, and you don't go,
Attaboy.
you know, I don't, you know, I've never been any, but I feel sorry, but not sorry. No, I just think your mother knows. Look, I'm going to tell you, your mother knows. My mother knew. She never discussed it with me. I'll bet your mommy knows, and she will not discuss it with you.
That's probably it.
That is the truth.
And we've had discussions before, so, but they never turned out very well. No more.
No. I love your show.
Oh, thank
and
you
I
so
think you're
much.
just a great, great lady. Where would you like to see yourself, say, a few years from now, Barry? Where would you like to go?
Well, I would like to do television, and I would like to not have to travel around with 20 suitcases.
Is it tough for you to travel around? Oh, 20
Oh my
suitcases.
gosh, it's terrible.
That's what it is.
With all the wigs and the makeup.
Oh.
Oh.
You're at the Gay Lesbian Theater, and I love
the
it, and I
Rembrandt
think
Center.
it's great. It's a great theater. It's a wonderful theater,
Oh,
matter of
fantastic.
fact. It's so clean. It's so
I know,
crisp.
they keep it nice. And the people there are fantastic.
Are they?
And you don't have to lift a finger.
Who's your PR? That PR lady is
Oh,
so-
Caroline Medlin, who could do a show without her in L.A.?
Is she English?
She is English, and she actually produced a show in L.A. and in London
Did she
as
really?
well. So
As
and it
your-
did
the
really
one you
well.
did?
Yes. She's always, ever since she met me, she said, we have to take you to London. And finally we went, and what a huge success it was. So she's fantastic. Caroline Medlin.
I'm so happy that I've spoken to you today because you are a delightful lady. I really,
thank you. You're a
really
doll,
think you're
Skippy.
great
Thanks for
talent.
having me.
And got to go see her. I think it's a wonderful show, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a new show, matter of fact, and it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're wonderful. Give my regards. Jim Bailey, tell me something. Opening it's another place, another club, another theater.
Another opening, another show.
But this one is in Hollywood at the beautiful Henry Fonda Theater.
Yes, the Music Box at the Henry Fonda Theater.
And it's right out by, where is it?
It's right down this few doors down from the Pantages.
Pantages,
Yeah.
yes. It's a great little theater.
Yes, it is. It
Wonderful
is.
balconies.
Oh,
things.
yeah.
You're going to really, and you're doing Judy?
I'm doing Judy, yes. And looking forward to it. Full orchestra. And
the orchestra you had last time I saw you was sensational.
Weren't they great?
Yeah. Is this going to be the same?
Yeah.
That
same
And
orchestra.
I understand that you just rehearsed very quickly at night.
Oh, I would imagine
But
so.
the show was sensational, Jim.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the day was, everything was backed up, you know what I'm saying? The rehearsal started late, and then I had to get into makeup, and that was running behind. But it all came together.
How long does it take Jim Bailey to put Judy together, the makeup, the whole thing, the mindset, you know?
About 3 hours.
It does take you that long.
Yeah, sometimes a little less. It was less at the House of Blues because we were running late and I had to really get going. But I like to take time, you know, to perfect it. You know, I don't wear a mask. It's a mask.
No,
I paint it paint it on. Everything
You're
has to
actually
be
known as an illusionist. Illusionist is
Right.
different than a personator, because you're not a
Right.
personator.
No.
Because you are doing Judy Garland.
I become
that
her.
You become her.
Uh-huh.
Difficult.
No, it's, you know what? If I ever find out why or how, it's a gift from above that I have. I stopped trying to figure it out a long time ago. I have no idea why and how it came to be, but at a party one night, I think I told you this story, didn't I?
Go ahead, I'd love to
No.
hear it again.
At a party one night a long while before I ever did Judy, and this is the 40th anniversary of...
This is 40th anniversary of Judy?
me doing Judy, yeah. And about a year before that, I was at a party, and we were just messing around, and I, for some reason, don't ask me why or how I sang Over the Rainbow. No music, I just sat there and sang it. And everybody said, oh my God, that's amazing, amazing. And then to make a long story short, then in the next year and a half, I started playing around with makeup and listening to her recordings and singing along with them, and here I am.
That voice.
Oh.
Not anybody can do it because you studied opera.
Yes.
You studied the technique of that instrument.
The vocal cords, the diaphragm, everything. I learned how to breathe, how to enunciate. It was great training.
I loved you on the Ed Sullivan Show. First time I saw you.
Oh my God.
Loved you on the Ed Sullivan. When the people turned on Sunday night at the Ed Sullivan, they saw Judy Garland, but they were seeing Jim Bailey.
Yeah. A lot of people, because she passed away in '69.
And this was very young, 46, 47?
47, yeah,
47.
very young. And when I did the Ed Sullivan Show, I think it was 1970, a lot of people didn't realize that she was gone. And when they watched the Ed Sullivan Show, they thought that it was her. Some people thought it was her. Some people thought it was a rerun of an old show.
That's me.
And then he introduced me, and I came back and sang as myself. And that's where it all started.
Tell me
really.
something about coming back singing as yourself after you've been doing Judy and then you're doing Jim Bailey. I've seen you do this. It's incredible. It's transformation.
Well, it got to the point where I really felt cheated. I felt that I was cheating Judy and cheating myself because I could only do half an hour of Judy, and then I had to run off and then change and very quickly take everything and then come back and do a half an hour or whatever as myself. And it got to the point where it was just too hard. I mean, brushes and things were flying up in the air, trying to get me back into and I just was exhausted all the time. And I thought, you know what? I have to give in to Judy for a while. And that's when I started to do a full Judy show.
The night on the Ed Sullivan, the next day, the very next day, Jim Bailey, manager, what happened? Phone must be ringing. Jobs, everything must have been. What happened, Jim?
Well, I was, what I did was I taped a show, an Ed Sullivan show, of me doing Peggy Lee and myself, but the Judy Garland show that I did was live. That was the night. It was boom.
Right.
And
the next day.
Well, the next day, I mean, the phones were ringing, and yeah, it was.
Your career really
took off.
With that,
took off. Went to Vegas, and Carol Burnett came in and
good
saw
friends
me.
of you and Carol.
Oh, I love Carol. She was so sweet to me, and she came backstage and said, "You've got to do my show." So then I did Carol Burnett's show, and
Lucille Ball. Tell me about Lucille and Jim Bailey.
Lucille was. I learned so much from Lucille Ball.
Like what?
I saw both sides of Lucille Ball. We became friends, and I used to go over to her house when I was in town and watch movies with her. And I saw the professional, tough side of her, which she was.
Same as Barbra Streisand.
But I also saw the sensitive side, and it was very special to see that, because I really, after spending time with her, I realized what she was all about and why she did what she did.
Perfection.
Perfection. She knew every light in the studio. She knew everything. She directed the show, really.
Yes.
But I learned from her about professionalism. I learned a lot. And being with people. She just knew how to handle people. But she was fun. I made her laugh all the time. Lucy wasn't a laugher. I mean, she didn't, you know what I'm saying?
She was serious.
Yeah, but I got through that. I got through to her. We used to sit and laugh a lot. Played Scrabble.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she loved that, didn't she? Very much.
Uh-huh.
She married a comic who was up in the Catskills a lot.
Gary Morton.
Gary Morton. Unfunny. I thought he was unfunny, but she thought he was funny. I don't know. I remember him very well up in the Catskills.
I never saw his act, so I don't know.
Now tell me about Lucy. Lucille Ball's
Lucy
daughter.
Arnaz.
That's it. You went out with her. You became dates.
Yes, we were going together, and
was it difficult just now for me bringing that up?
Well,
did something hit just now?
It was a very special time in my life.
Was it?
She was very special. She still is very special,
right.
And we were getting serious. And her mother took me aside one day, Lucille, and she sat me down and she said, "Look, do you have any idea what is going to come from all of this?" She said, "You have a career, and you're traveling on the road, and Lucy wants a career, and she's going to be on the road," which she was when I knew her. She was doing summer stock. And she said, "What are you going to do? What kind of a relationship? You're going to meet at railroad stations and airports?" And I realized that it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to her, because she was young. She was younger than I was. And she wanted a career, and I couldn't, I just felt it was wrong, so.
I'm going to tell you, you brought a few clips of your show before we go on with this interview. Some clips of doing Garland,
yes,
which you'll be doing at the Henry Fonda Theater.
Yes, yes.
And I'd love my audience to see it.
Okay.
If we can just show some clips, it would be wonderful. Okay, let's roll it.
The incredible Mr. Jim Bailey.
The trolley, ding, ding, ding went the bell. Zing, zing, zing went my heartstrings. From the moment I saw him I fell. Cha, cha, cha went the motor. Bump, bump, bump went the brake. Thump, thump, thump went my heartstrings. When he smiles you can feel the car shake. He dipped his hat and took a seat. He said he hoped he had stepped upon my feet. He asked my name, I held my breath. I couldn't speak because he scared me half to death. Buzz, buzz, buzz went the buzzer. Plop, plop, plop went the wheels. Sob, sob went my heartstrings. As he started to leave, I took hold of his sleeve with my hand. Thank you very, very much. There's a song that I have been singing for a long, long time, and I'd like to sing it for you now. Actually, I'd like to sing it for all of us. All right? rises on you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind. Troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find somewhere. If happy little bluebirds soar beyond the rainbow, why? You're marvelous. Thank you very, very much. Now, what I have to do right now, I'm going to make a very fast costume change. And you see, when I got here this afternoon, they told me they had run out of dressing rooms. They didn't have any more, so they had to build me one. This is it. That's my dressing room. So I'm going to go over in there and talk to you. Now, could you take that for me? Oh, nice and roomy, isn't it, in here? There's a little Munchkin person down here. Speaking of which, I don't know, wherever I go, somebody always wants to know what the Munchkins were like in The Wizard of Oz, you know? And they were so marvelous and cute, you know, in the movie. But they did have they had a drinking problem. They loved to drink beer. Oh, yeah, and they were known at MGM as MAs, miniature alcoholics. I don't mean to speak harshly. They were adorable. But there was this one cute little guy. He was about, 4.5 inches tall and about, 58 years old. And I was just 16 years old, you know, and he was always peeking out from behind props and trees on the set. And he was looking at me, and he was always going sort of. So one day I went over and I said, "Excuse me, sir, but you know, you've been looking at me for several days now, and you seem to be saying something. What is it you're saying?" He said, "I want to make love to you." I said, if you do and I find out. Now, moving right along, as we said, what do you think? Stunning? I did a movie a long time ago called A Star Is Born, and there's a marvelous song in it, a musical number that I like a lot. And with the help of
the very able assistants of Mr. Mike Reed and the Marvelous Orchestra, and our very talented singers and dancers. We're going to do it for you, all right? Swanee, how I love ya, my dear old Swanee. I give the world to me among the folks in GIX. I even know my mammy waiting for me, praying for me down by the Swanee. The folks up north will sing me no more. I get to my Swanee shore. Swanee, I am coming back to Swanee. Mammy, Mammy, I love the old folks at home. I love ya, Swanee.
What's the audience? You can see, you can feel the difference.
I think the audiences at Carnegie and the audiences in London at the Palladium, they have this love for Judy, and it's like, you know, I've continued her career in a way, which I'm very honored to be able to do, because she was.
She died
the great.
in London.
She died yes.
in a hotel.
And they love Judy Garland. They have. I mean, they really respected her talent. And yeah, she was, that's why she left and moved to London, because she loved them.
She loved London, yeah.
When
did Jim Bailey, Judy Garland discovered Jim Bailey? Because you were working in the cabaret downtown in L.A.
Downtown
and
L.A.
she walked in one night. Come on, tell me about
it. Well, it got around in, I forget who the first, well, she was the first celebrity that came in.
She was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And her press agent had heard about me.
Right.
And he said, we've got to go. So he came in to see me, to do Judy. And he said, you know, I've got to bring Judy in. And I thought, yeah. So the next week, I was in the dressing room getting ready for the show. And the waiter came back and he said, you're not going to believe it. Judy Garland is sitting stage right there. I said, oh my God, but I'm not doing it. I said, I'm not doing it. I got so nervous and so upset. And everybody said, you gotta do it. She came here to see you do. You're not gonna do it? So I thought, well, okay, so I did it. And the curtains opened and I could see her vaguely. She had a black velvet Garbo hat on. And she was sitting there, and when I came out, she did this little squeal. She went, oh, like that. And she was just eating it up. She loved it. And at the end of my show, I saw her get up, take her coat off, and take the hat and throw it on this chair, and she got up onto the stage with me.
Oops.
She came up to me and threw her arms around me.
Great.
And the audience went out of their minds. And she was so sweet. So she came back, the curtains closed, and she said, well, what do we do now? And so the curtains reopened, and she said, well, let's sing something together. So I said, well, so we sang a cappella, which means without any music, Bye Bye Blackbird, she and I.
Great.
And that was, at the end of it, they all went mad, and the curtains closed, and she came back into the dressing room with me. And we sat and talked, and she was just great.
Why do you think the gays of the world love Judy Garland so much? Why do you think, because you're doing her, why do you think the gays love her? I know she's talented and all, but there's something. Is it because of tragedy in her life?
No.
No?
I maybe partly because of the way she bounced back all the time.
Okay.
But it was an emotion. It was something that she, when she sang, her heart was on her sleeve. And she lived many of those lyrics in those songs. And the gay audience picked up on that. And the fact that she was totally sincere. But not only the gay audience, but because of what the gay people have gone through and all that, they latched on to her because she was their spokesperson in a way.
Her daughters, both of them, Liza love you, Lorna loves you. Judy should have won the Academy Award.
I know.
The Star was Born.
I know.
Grace Kelly came in. She evidently screwed the right person. She must have.
People.
People. Well, whatever. And I'm telling you,
I know.
It just ruined it. Because Judy Garland should have got the Academy Award.
Yeah.
What does the daughters, do they have any regrets and meanness about Hollywood, what they did to her for that?
I think that they do. I think that they feel the same way that you do and that I do, that she should have won. And she
did too. She left it. She got on stage. Immediately, she did not. Her whole life changed and went to the palace.
Right.
Right?
Right. She really did win in a way. Because if you ask the average person, a lot of people think she did win the Academy Award.
Yeah,
but if you ask them who really won, they don't even know. They don't remember.
Grace Kelly.
What was her name?
Country girl,
Oh,
Grace
her.
Kelly. I mean, they don't know, do they?
No, they don't remember that.
Yeah.
And anyway, Judy was very good to me, and she gave me her phone number, and she said, would you call me? And I went home the next day, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to call Judy Garland. I mean, this is ridiculous. So 2 days went by, and I finally picked up the phone, and her maid answered the phone, Alma. And she said, Miss Garland's residence, and I said, I'm calling for Miss Garland. This is Jim Bailey. And she said, oh, she's been expecting your call.
Good.
And I thought, huh? She's been expecting my... So she got on the phone and she said, Jimmy. She called me Jimmy because her sister was Virginia, but she called her Jimmy.
Yeah.
She said, what are you doing? I want you to come by the house. When you, I said, well, I was, get this. I was going to go to the beach today. She said, the beach? Why would you go to the beach? And I'm thinking, why would I go to the beach as opposed to going to see Judy Garland? So I went to see Judy. I didn't go to the beach. And it was the beginning of several times that I went out to her house.
She was funny, wasn't she?
She was great. She told me some wonderful stories, and she was so, it was almost as if she was, in a way, training me. I remember one night I went out there, and she went upstairs, and she said, my Carnegie Hall album is on the phonograph. She said, I'll tell you when to put it on. And I thought, what? So she said, put it on, and the overture played, and I'm sitting there listening, and she came downstairs.
Start singing
in the outfit that she wore at Carnegie Hall.
You're kidding.
And sang with the record and performed the whole concert.
Isn't that interesting?
And then,
just for you.
Yeah. And I know what she was doing, but I don't know whether maybe she thought I was so young that I wouldn't pick up on it, but she was training me in a way. And then there would be applause, and she'd say, now I do this movement.
Yes.
And then she'd go back into the song, and it was the most fantastic night of my life.
That's
one of the most fantastic nights of my life.
MGM really ruined her because they fed her pills when she was very young.
Right.
Fed her all kinds
she was,
of prescriptions. And had a nervous breakdown.
Couple of them.
Kinds, couple?
Yeah.
All kinds of things. Judy Garland was like a mad woman, the poor little girl. Just...
You know, she bounced back so many times. It's hard for me to believe that she was... number one, she passed away at the age of 47. And I don't know how she got through to be 47 with all that she was put through at the studio. And you know what I'm saying? She was...
MGM had a thing about that. They really did. They really did a lot of stuff. Jim Bailey, you are doing Judy at the Henry Fonda It starts August the 9th and 10th?
Yes.
2 days. That's Saturday and Sunday?
Yes.
How wonderful.
I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's great.
Because this is going to be a real Judy concert.
This is
really Judy concert.
Real Judy. You're going to do the rainbow sitting maybe at that little...
Maybe on the edge of the
stage. Edge of the stage, do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you got to keep the funny lines in there because you're so funny, Jim.
Oh, thanks. Well, she was a fun lady. So.
She was, wasn't she?
Yes, I miss her very much.
Is that your favorite? Because you do so many.
She's my favorite. She's my favorite.
Yeah, she's your favorite.
Hands down, she's my favorite. And I do Peggy Lee and Barbara.
Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
You do all.